Chapter 165, The End to the Night. Within the mountain valley, the chaotic scene dissipated as the Blade Slaughter gang fled in defeat, and the situation gradually became clearer. Although quite a number from the Thousand Gold Association had been killed or injured in the intense battle before, the Blood Wolf gang had likewise sustained substantial losses. Most importantly, in the wake of the Blade Slaughter gang's crushing defeat, the troops of the Blood Wolf gang were so alarmed that they lost their morale. Their previously advantageous situation had practically vanished off the face of the earth in an instant. Yu Shan was a person who was very able in assessing the situation. When Song Dao escaped in defeat, he already knew that the situation where they were originally going to successfully dispose of the Thousand Gold Association had already been thoroughly destroyed by Lin Dong's appearance. Having lost the aid of the Blade Slaughter gang, the Blood Wolf gang was no longer able to deal with the Thousand Gold Association with just their strength alone. Furthermore, Lin Dong and the rest were like tigers eyeing their prey as they watched from the side. Yu Shan had seen some of the previous exchange between Lin Dong and Song Dao. Truth be told, a trace of fear had now surfaced in his heart because of this youngster, who was not even 20 years old. Song Dao was as powerful as Yu Shan, and since Lin Dong was able to force Song Dao to such a terrible state, he would likewise be able to do the same to Yu Shan. If this was before, Yu Shan would likely snort disdainfully at this kind of outcome. When he first met Lin Dong, though he was a little astonished at the latter's capabilities, he did not really think too much about it. An individual who had yet to reach even the Yuan Dan stage, would be easily squashed under his thumb. However, the following events that transpired caused Yu Shan to gradually take notice of Lin Dong. This was because his rate of growth had already surpassed the boundaries of Yu Shan's imagination. Even if he was prepared for it, when Yu Shan suddenly saw Lin Dong directly defeat Song Dao, his heart could not help but tremble a little. Now, the youngster Yu Shan had initially scoffed at, had already grown till he became someone who could go toe-to-toe with Yu Shan. The bonfires burned as the light from the fire shone on Yu Shan's face, revealing his complicated expression. Around him, the Blood Wolf gang troops tightly drew close. Their previous ferociousness had already completely faded, as they nervously stared at the bloodied troops from the Thousand Gold Association to their front. If Yu Shan had not spoken, they would likely have fled like the Blade Slaughter gang. If I knew, I would have killed you at the Celestial Dan Pool. Yu Shan's face slightly trembled as he stared unwaveringly at Lin Dong, while his hoarse voice sounded out. Many thanks for your compliments. Lin Dong chuckled as his eyes swept over the troops from the Blood Wolf gang, his eyebrows slightly furrowing. The men Yu Shan had brought were clearly the elite of the Blood Wolf gang. They were a rather strong force, and from the looks of it, Yu Shan also did not seem to be injured. A perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner at 100% might not be difficult to beat, but would be rather problematic to kill. This time, my Blood Wolf gang admits defeat. Yu Shan deeply inhaled a breath of air. At this time, no matter how unwilling he was, he still needed to give up. With the power he currently had, it might still be enough to allow them all to retreat, but if this dragged on, they would perhaps be buried in this place. Yu Shan, when I return, my Thousand Gold Association will have its revenge. Xia Wanjin coldly stared at Yu Shan. He could tell that if Lin Dong had not suddenly appeared this time, his Thousand Gold Association would truly be destroyed. This grudge and debt was truly enormous. Anyone could imagine that when Xia Wanjin and the rest returned to Yan City, they would definitely gather all their power to deal a fatal blow to the Blood Wolf gang. Yu Shan's face twitched a few times, as he felt Xia Wanjin's chilling gaze. Pursing his lips, he promptly retorted in a cold voice, "So be it. I will accompany you till the end." However, though his mouth said these words, Yu Shan's heart shivered a little. From Xia Wanjin's gaze, he knew that in future, the Thousand Gold Association would go all out against him. Faced with the humongous financial resources of the Thousand Gold Association, he could foresee that the Blood Wolf gang would likely have a crisis on their hands. This was consequences of failing to completely exterminate Xia Wanjin here. If the plan this time succeeded, they would have easily defeated the Thousand Gold Association, but, if it failed, the Blood Wolf gang would face the Thousand Gold Association's frantic counterattack. Go! Yu Shan's expression was rather ugly, but he did not dare to stay any longer. Under the protection of the Blood Wolf gang elites, Yu Shan ferociously glared at Lin Dong, as they swiftly withdrew into the forest, before borrowing the cover of the night to make their speedy escape. As they watched the Blood Wolf gang withdraw, the troops from the Thousand Gold Association also completely relaxed. Quite a few of them fell to the ground on the spot. The huge battle tonight was really desperate. You are letting him go like this? Lin Ker cast a glance in the direction Yu Shan and the rest had fled in, before she smiled at Lin Dong and said, "If he desperately escapes, we will also be unable to stop him. Furthermore, most of their strength is still intact. The Thousand Gold Association in their current state will be unable to endure a desperate counterattack from them." Lin Dong shook his head as he explained. "You are also not chasing that Song Dao from before?" Lin Ker's umber-black eyebrows knitted together as she asked. "My heart is willing, but my body does not have the strength." Lin Dong casually made up an excuse. He could not possibly tell Lin Ker that he had already obtained Song Dao's Yuan Dan, right? After all, no matter what, taking another's Yuan Dan was considered an extremely ruthless method. It would not be good if word of this got out. "I'd be a fool to believe you." Lin Ker rolled her eyes at Lin Dong. She could see that, although Lin Dong had not come out unscathed from this big battle, compared to Song Dao, the former was far better off. Lin Dong chuckled and did not speak any further. After joining hands against an enemy this time, he was now somewhat fearful of this elegant woman. Even though he mostly feared the unusual shattered ice sword beneath her feet, her methods also caused Lin Dong to not dare to underestimate her. While he was fighting with Song Dao previously, many members of the Blade Slaughter gang had their lives mercilessly taken away by Lin Ker. Among them, there were even the two practitioners who had reached the advanced Yuan Dan stage. In particular, the corpse of the man that had insulted her in the day was riddled with wounds. Evidently, he had been tormented quite extremely before his death. This woman's heart was completely different from her elegant looks. Lin Dong did not plan to antagonize a troublesome woman like this. "My young friend Lin Dong, this time, it's all thanks to you." While Lin Dong was talking to Lin Ker, Xia Wanjin walked over, wearing a gloomy expression, as he forced a smile at Lin Dong. Although the Blood Wolf gang had been repelled tonight, the Thousand Gold Association's losses were not small. If Lin Dong had arrived a little later, perhaps, even more would have died. "Chairman Xia has no need for such words. I have received much care from Big Sister Su and the Thousand Gold Association in Yan City. It is only right for me to lend a hand." Lin Dong understood Xia Wanjin's mood, as he clasped his hands towards the latter and said, "This time, we originally planned to look for some treasures in that old tomb. Yet, it now looks like we have no choice but to return home." To one side, Xian Su softly said, "Next, we will directly return to Yan City. This grudge will not end here." Xia Wanjin also nodded his head as he gnashed his teeth and said, "After the Blood Wolf gang has fled this time, they will definitely be even more on guard. Over this period, I will likely be at the old tomb. As for my family, please take extra care of them, Chairman Xia." Lin Dong muttered. If the Blood Wolf gang made a move while he was not with the Lin family, a catastrophe might occur. "Don't worry, as long as my Thousand Gold Association exists in Yan City, I will definitely not let anything happen to the Lin family," Xia Wanjin declared in a solemn voice. "Hehe, the Lin family still has the Symbol Master Guild and the city governor watching over them. Yu Shan does not have the guts to offend these two great factions." Xian Su chuckled and said, "Many thanks." Lin Dong clasped his hands together in thanks. The current Lin family could be considered to have settled in Yan City, or else, he would be incapable of leaving at ease. "Chairman Xia, Big Sister Su, rest and reorganize yourselves for a while before leaving. We still have a team at another place, so we will likely have to leave first." Casting a glance at Lin Ker, who was seemingly bored as she stood atop her shattered ice sword and gazed at the sky, Lin Dong did not chat too much. Sure. Xia Wanjin looked at Lin Ker, before his gaze concentrated on the shattered ice sword beneath the latter's feet, as a serious look flitted across his eyes. As the head of the Thousand Gold Association, he naturally had a rather discerning eye. With one look, he knew what the shattered ice sword under Lin Ker's feet was. This kind of treasure was not one any ordinary faction would possess. Goodbye. Lin Dong nodded, and with a wave of his hand, little flame pounced over while reeking of blood. The tip of his foot tapped off the ground and landed on the tiger's back. After waving to Xia Wanjin and the rest, little flame transformed into a fiery shadow as it dashed into the forest. Behind it, Lin Ker was light as a feather as she closely followed while atop her shattered ice sword. For Lin Dong, stepping in this time was to return some of the friendship the Thousand Gold Association had shown him in the past. Most importantly, he had actually obtained a perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner's Yuan Dan. If this was made use of appropriately, it would result in the greatest impact. Thus, he had obtained quite a haul this time. As he watched Lin Dong's and Lin Ker's figures fade into the night, Xia Wanjin sighed deeply as he slowly said, "It has only been a short 2 or 3 months, to think that Lin Dong had actually grown to such a stage. With his current strength, perhaps even I will be unable to beat him." When they recalled Song Dao's sorry figure, Sun Su, Xia's Hailan and the rest also lightly nodded their heads in agreement. This fellow, every time we meet, he will have become much stronger. However, this time, it is really all thanks to him, Sun Su softly chuckled as she said. Agreed. Xia Wanjin nodded his head. Soon after, he smiled and said, "Initially, I had slightly doubted the importance you placed in Lin Dong. Now, it looks like I was the short-sighted one. What this guy achieves in future will definitely be out of our expectations." Gradually withdrawing his gaze, Xia Wanjin looked at the almost reorganized troops, as he waved his hand. A cold murderous intent suddenly surfaced on his face. "Go, return to Yan City. We will thoroughly cleanse Yan City of the Blood Wolf Gang." Chapter 166, Lin Langqian. When Lin Dong and Lin Ker quietly returned to the camp, it was still tranquil like before. The bonfire slowly danced. Compared to the chaos previously, it was practically 2 different worlds. After returning to the camp, the duo exchanged a glance before stealthily intending to return to their respective tents. Cough. However, just as the two planned to return to their tents, a tiny cough sounded out, startling the duo. As they turned their heads, they saw Old Man Tao lifting his tent opening as he helplessly gazed at the two. Old Man Tao has yet to sleep at such a late hour. Lin Dong let out a hollow laugh, and to one side, Lin Ker's eyes also turned in their sockets, as if preparing an excuse. "You two little brats," completely refusing to be peaceful, Old Man Tao helplessly shook his head. From his tone, he seemed to know what Lin Dong and Lin Ker had went to do. Upon hearing these words, Lin Dong could only once again let out a hollow laugh. "Forget it, go back and rest." At this time, Old Man Tao could no longer say anything about this, and could only wave his hand. Seeing this, Lin Dong swiftly slipped into his tent. "You went to deal with that group, right?" Upon seeing Lin Dong slip into his tent, Old Man Tao walked towards Lin Ker and softly sighed as he said, "I really never expected that Lin Dong would actually be able to defeat even a perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner. Looks like he held back quite a bit in the duel with Lin Chen before." In response, even the proud Lin Ker lightly nodded her head. Her beautiful eyes glanced at Lin Dong's tent as she said, "He is indeed very powerful, even among the younger generation of the Lin clan, he would be top 10. In the Lin clan gathering 2 years later, Lin Dong will definitely make his mark. That old chap Lin Shentian is truly fortunate to have such a grandson at his age." Old Man Tao sighed. From his words, one could tell that he was rather envious of Lin Shentian. "All right, you should also go and rest, we still need to hurry on our journey tomorrow morning." "Yes." Early the next morning, while the mountains were still shrouded in mist, Lin Dong and the rest once again set out. From Lin Chen's and the rest's appearances, it was clear that they did know Lin Dong and Lin Ker had already secretly participated in an intense battle the night before. After another half a day of traveling, the mountain range became much quieter, while Old Man Tao's and the rest's expression turned increasingly serious. They had already reached the deeper parts of Skyflame mountain range. The demonic beasts that run amok here was all very formidable. A little carelessness might draw a group of demonic beasts. At that time, even they would have to turn to flee. Fortunately, there was Lin Ker to lead the way. She seemed to be exceedingly sensitive towards the auras of these demonic beasts. If they were about to encounter any beasts, she would sense it beforehand, and lead the team as they very carefully took a detour. At times, even Lin Dong could not help but admire this woman, because even he would sometimes find it very difficult to discover these demonic beasts which were extremely talented at concealment. The groups deep in the mountains were already very few. Lin Dong and his party had rushed for half a day, and had only found one other group. After all, it was no simple matter to pass through the obstruction of numerous demonic beasts to arrive here. Of course, although Lin Ker had keen senses, there were always exceptions. Thus, on their journey, Lin Dong and the rest had also encountered a single demonic beast attack. It was from demonic beasts which had the strength of an advanced Yuan Dan stage practitioner. Initially, the team was a little panicked by the attack, however, they quickly steadied themselves. Though an advanced Yuan Dan stage demonic beast was not weak, it was very hard for it to pose a fatal threat to Lin Dong and his group. Therefore, after a battle that was not considered intense, 3 demonic beasts were dead, and their demonic crystals were immediately gulped down by Little Flame, which could be considered a huge compensation. After experiencing this attack, the team became more cautious. Luckily, another attack did not occur. When it was about afternoon time, Lin Dong and his party finally passed through the forest and appeared on the fringe of a huge mountain peak. The mountain peak did not have sharp point, lush vegetation spread out from the mountain, and one could faintly make out traces of an ancient building, made of huge rocks, concealed among the vegetation at the top of the mountain. "Is that where the old tomb is located?" As he gazed at the mountain top, excitement flitted across Lin Dong's eyes as he asked. "Yes." Old Man Tao chuckled as he nodded his head, sighing a little before speaking. "However, the seal exists on the mountain top, hence, entering would not be easy. A Nirvana stage practitioner's work is indeed very refined. After so many years, the seal is still so powerful." Lin Dong nodded in agreement. Based on his mental energy perception, he was able to sense an unusual undulation in the skies around the mountain top, which should be due to the seal. "Let's go to the foot of the mountain first. I'm afraid that there are already quite a few people waiting there." Old Man Tao chuckled. Lin Dong's eyes looked towards the foot of the mountain and sure enough, he saw many tents. He was inevitably somewhat surprised. He did not expect that there were already so many people who had arrived here first. There was truly nothing to say about the allure of this old tomb. The party hastened their steps. 10 minutes later, they appeared in the camp situated at the foot of the mountain. This camp was evidently formed by countless teams. After all, the deeper parts of the Skyflame mountain range were very dangerous. At any time, formidable demonic beasts would charge out. Even a perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner did not dare to set up camp by himself. Thus, everyone set up camp together. If a strong demonic beast were to attack, they would be able to join hands and deal with it. Although everyone were competitors, before they saw any treasures, they did not need to fall out with one another. The appearance of Lin Dong and his party clearly drew the attention of quite a few people in the campsite. However, when they saw the clan emblem on Lin Ker's and the rest's chests, they fearfully withdrew their gazes. The Lin clan was considered as a colossal existence in the Great Yan Empire. Ordinary factions did not have the guts to provoke them. Thanks to the reputation of the Lin clan, Lin Ker and the rest successfully entered the camping grounds. As they gazed at the bustling atmosphere within the camp, they could not help but be amazed. If it was before, no one would have imagined that such a market-like scene would appear in this extremely dangerous part of the Skyflame mountain range. To think that the Wang clan have also arrived. After entering the camp, the gazes of Lin K'er and the rest suddenly looked towards a high ground nearby. There were currently some people were watching them from that spot. The Wang clan. Upon hearing this name, Lin Dong's heart trembled a little. This Wang clan was also part of the Great Yan Empire's 4 great clans. His eyes also looked over, only to see a group of young people standing on that piece of high ground. They were playfully staring back, and as Lin Dong's gaze swept over them, it came to rest on a man at the center of the group. The man wore yellow and seemed to give out a noble aura. His face was handsome and his aura was extraordinary. As he stood within the crowd, he seemed particularly prominent. And, what caught Lin Dong's attention the most, was that he sensed a trace of Yuan power undulations which did not lose to old man Tao, Yu Shan and the rest, from this man's body. Perfect Yuan Dan stage. A serious look swept across Lin Dong's eyes. These great clans were indeed extraordinary. This man's age was likely only around 25 or 6, yet, he had already reached this level. One could tell that even among the younger generation of the Wang clan, this person was no ordinary character. Plus, this was also the first time that Lin Dong had seen such a young perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner. I did not think that even Wang Pan had come this time. As he gazed at that man in yellow, Lin Chen's eyebrows furrowed. Don't bother about them, let's set up our tents and rest. Lin K'er casually said. Based on her tone, it seemed like she did not like these Wang clan members. The rest of them also nodded their heads, before they instructing for the tents to be set up. How many groups of people did the 4 great clans send over this time? Lin Dong approached Lin K'er and asked. 4 groups similar to our own, only the Wang clan sent over their younger generation members, to take this as an experience. However, each of the 4 great clans will send over their true elite practitioners. Lin K'er explained. Since this old tomb is so valuable, wouldn't it be easier for the heads of these 4 great clans to directly intervene? Do you think these people will make a move so lightly? Furthermore, if one of them intervenes, the other parties will surely stop them. At the end of the day, it will just be a waste of their time. According to my knowledge, the elite practitioners sent by our 4 great clans should be the finest younger generation members. Hehe, these guys are truly monsters. Even in the entire Great Yan dynasty, they are considered as exceedingly dazzling existences. Lin Dong silently nodded his head. The 4 of them were indeed incredible geniuses. In fact, they represented the pinnacle of the younger generation members of the Great Yan dynasty. Big brother Lin Langqian and the rest should arrive here by tomorrow. At that time, this seal will naturally be broken. Lin K'er lifted her beautiful eyes, as she stared at the somewhat distorted sky, before she laughed and said. Lin Dong was silent, as his eyes faintly shimmered. Tomorrow, he would finally meet that man. It was a night without conversation in these ancient woods deep within the mountains. The fact that so many people were crowded together provided some degree of comfort. Even though growls from wild beasts echoed out quite often during the night, overall, it was still relatively peaceful. When dawn of the second day arrived, the campground became rowdy once again. However, most people today were very excited. Evidently, most of them knew that the seal would be forcefully broken today. Even though they had no chance to obtain the most precious item in the old tomb, any loot they obtained would make this trip worthwhile. Lin Dong sat on a giant boulder, with both of his eyes shut. Below him, Lin Chen and the rest constantly looked up towards the skies, eager looks filling their eyes. As they waited eagerly, time slowly flowed by. Just as the sun had reached the middle of the sky, from the distant horizon, the sound of wind suddenly rumbled forth. Just as the sound of wind rang out, Lin Dong's eyes suddenly jutted open. He could feel that all the Yuan power inside these lands were now faintly gravitating towards that direction. Lin Lang Tian. Lin Dong lifted his head to look at the northern part of the skies. There, he saw a red flash streaking through the skies like a shooting star, descending from the heavens. Chapter 167, The Four Top Young Practitioners. The red flash tore through the sky as it drew the UN power from heaven and earth. That kind of aura was exceptionally terrifying. When that red flash appeared on the edges of the horizon, everyone in the camp noticed it. Immediately, numerous gazes of amazement were cast towards it. Oh! Under the numerous curious gazes, the red flash broke through the skies at a ferocious speed. As the red flash approached, the crowd was shocked to discover that the red flash was actually an exceedingly handsome giant eagle that was colored entirely in crimson red. That giant eagle's speed was extremely fast, its wings shook a few times as it appeared in the skies above, bringing with it the roars of wind and thunder. While the giant eagle was slowing down, the crowd's gazes immediately concentrated on the back of the eagle. Clothed in green with his hands behind his back and his long hair drifting in the wind, he appeared to be extremely free and at ease. A look which subdued many of the onlookers. Atop the giant eagle, the man in green slightly tilted his head down as his calm as water gaze swept over the camp below. He then withdrew his gaze, because there was nothing worthy of his attention in that place. Big brother Lin Langtian has arrived. As they gazed at the figure in green atop the giant eagle, Lin Chen and the rest immediately cried out joyfully, excitement in their eyes. So, he is Lin Langtian. Lin Dong's eyes stared unblinkingly at the man in green, who stood atop the giant eagle while looking down at the land. From the latter's gaze, Lin Dong could see how flatly the man viewed the people below, or perhaps, it might be a type of disregard. Of course, with his strength, he did seem to possess this right. Based on that figure alone, even Lin Dong could not help but admit that this Lin Langtian was indeed a rarely seen handsome man, and that kind of aura was also one of a kind. The eagle below his feet, Lin Dong's gaze was glued onto the figure in green. It was quite a while before his gaze slowly shifted to the crimson-red giant eagle below. Immediately, his pupils shrunk. That was made by him using UN power, and is not real. However, this giant eagle seemed to possess not only form, but also a little of a true eagle's majesty. If I am not wrong, this guy is already at the Qi creation stage of the 3 creation stages. Heh, reaching the Qi creation stage at such an age. Lin Dong, this opponent of yours is abnormally powerful. The little Martin's voice also sounded out in Lin Dong's mind at this moment. Qi creation stage. Upon hearing these words, Lin Dong's pupils abruptly shrunk. He very clearly understood what this level represented. Even in the entire Great Yan Empire, those of the Qi creation stage were truly first-class practitioners. Lin Dong tightly pursed his lips, stubbornly staring at the figure in green, before his gaze slowly lowered. At that time when he had first become sensible, he had declared that one day, he would take back the dignity of his father, which had once been trampled on. Perhaps, Lin Langtian had already long forgotten about the branch family member he had casually crippled during the clan gathering that year, but Lin Dong would never dare to forget. This memory had not weakened under the passage of time, instead, it was gradually branded deeply onto his soul. Thus, no matter how strong this opponent was, he would never give up. Of course, at the moment, he still needed to firmly suppress the hatred in his heart, because he was still currently incapable of contending against this pride of the Lin clan. Lin Chen and the rest did not see Lin Dong's expression, their gazes were completely fixed on the sky. In the Lin clan, Lin Langtian's influence had practically surpassed some of the clan elders. In the hearts of the younger generation like them, Lin Langtian was even more like a war god that would never lose in battle. Under the brilliance of Lin Langtian, the rest of the Lin clan younger generation members were dull and colorless. Haha, Lin Langtian, you've managed to beat me by one step. While the crowd was in awe of Lin Langtian's aura, a hearty thunder-like laughter suddenly rumbled from the horizon. The crowd watched as a golden ray streaked across the skies, while a formidable aura also rippled out. This aura was filled with haughtiness, yet, in response to this kind of haughtiness, no one dared to be resentful against it. The golden light broke through the skies, causing the UN power to surge, as it finally came to float in the horizon, transforming into a huge golden spear that was a dozen meters long. Atop the spear stood a figure in gold with long hair that draped over his shoulders. A domineering aura soared into the skies, as if it was a unique wild spear which towered over the land. The crowd stared at the figure in gold, which stood atop the huge golden spear, as envious looks were revealed on many of their faces. If one could look this mighty and impressive in one's life, one's bitter training would have paid off. Big brother Wang Yan is also here. Several from the Wang clan stared at the figure atop the huge golden spear in the sky, as delight surfaced on their faces. To think that the one from the Wang clan this time is actually Wang Yan. Lin Ker and the rest watched the huge golden spear in the sky, slightly astonished as they said. Should it not be him? Lin Dong was startled as he asked. There are two exceptional geniuses from the Wang clan. One of them is Wang Yan, while the other is even stronger, Wang Yan's older brother, Wang Zhong. Even big brother Lin Langqian fears this person the most. Over the years, the two have fought several times, but have yet to determine the victor among them. Lin Ker smiled and said. Wang Yan's strength should be at the form creation stage, a level below Lin Langqian. However, the huge golden spear below his feet is no ordinary item, it is probably a high-grade soul treasure. With the aid of such a soul treasure, he would be able to do battle even with a Qi creation stage practitioner. The small Martin's voice sounded out in Lin Dong's mind. High-grade soul treasure. Upon hearing these words, Lin Dong's eyes involuntarily twitched. He already knew that soul treasures were divided into three categories, and the shattered ice sword in Lin Ker's hands was a low-grade soul treasure. He did not expect that this Wang Yan was even more grand, directly stepping on a high-grade soul treasure. Even if the entire Yan city was excavated, a treasure like this would not be found. These people from the great clans are truly treated lavishly. Lin Dong bitterly laughed in his heart. Since he was born, he had never even touched a low-grade soul treasure, while these people were actually able to possess one each. Haha, I did not expect that you would be the one to come this time. In the skies, Lin Langtian's gaze also swept over the huge golden spear below Wang Yan's feet, before the former softly chuckled and said. Why? Do you look down on me? Upon hearing this, Wang Yan's eyebrows immediately raised as he laughed and said, this time, my brother is at a critical juncture of his closed-door cultivation. If he came, the treasures from the old tomb will all belong to my Wang clan. Haha, Wang Yan, I've not seen you for a year but your words are still as arrogant as before. Just as Wang Yan's laughter faded, yet another soft chuckle slowly sounded out from the horizon. Soon after, blue light filled the skies, as a rainbow flash swept over from the horizon. In the twinkling of an eye, it appeared in the skies above. When the blue light filled the skies, the crowd swiftly cast their gazes over, only to find a mythical wind bird which was dozens of meters large. It flapped its wings as it floated in the skies. An extremely formidable aura swept forth from within the mythical wind bird's body. A blue-clothed man lightly smiled as he stood atop the mythical wind bird. His face was bewitchingly handsome, such that in terms of looks, even Lin Langqian was inferior. He held a deep blue fan in his hand, as he slowly fanned himself, while giving off a graceful aura of nobility. That is the genius from the Qin clan, Qin Shi. After hearing Lin Ker's voice, Lin Dong once again silently nodded his head. Another fellow at the form creation stage, and that mythical wind bird of his also possesses the strength of the form creation stage. TCH, kid, don't be too discouraged today. Lin Dong rolled his eyes, not feeling discouraged like the little Martin had said. Though these people were all of the younger generation, they were still several years older than him. He had the confidence that he would surpass these arrogant existences in the future. Qin Shi, to think that an effeminate guy like you would also join in the fun here, you've even bought your Qin clan's mythical wind bird, truly well prepared indeed, Wang Yan chuckled as he shot a glance at Qin Shi. Didn't you also bring your Wang clan's great Luo golden spear? Brother Lin Langqian has already advanced to the Qi creation stage. If you are not thoroughly prepared, you will likely be stuck picking up the leftovers. Qin Shi waved the deep blue fan in his hand and slightly smiled. The corners of Wang Yan's mouth twitched as he turned to look towards the seal which enveloped the mountain top. When are we going to break this seal? No need to worry, we still need to wait for one more person. Lin Langqian casually smiled and said. Who are we waiting for? Didn't the Huangpu clan say they are not sending anyone? Wang Yan was taken aback, his eyebrows furrowing as he asked. The Huangpu clan is not planning to send anyone, but they've invited an even more formidable person to come, Lin Langqian chuckled and said. Oh? Who? In this great Yan Empire, there should be few who you would call formidable. Upon hearing this, Wang Yan quickly turned a little curious. Hehe, brother Lin Langqian flatters King Zhu. With the top younger generation members of the great Yan Empire like you guys here, King Zhu is afraid that it would be difficult to reap any rewards. As Wang Yan's voice faded, a spirited voice suddenly sounded out across the skies. That voice was extremely melodious, and seemed to contain a special magic. Immediately, an intoxicated look appeared in the eyes of several people below. Such a formidable person! Lin Dong's mind was likewise momentarily dazed when the spirited voice sounded out, however, he quickly regained his senses, as amazement filled his eyes. Hastily lifting his head, he saw a green light sweep across the skies from a distance away before finally transforming into a green lotus. Atop the green lotus, was a wonderfully curved figure. Although a veil covered her face, those penetrating crystal-like pupils caused this area to momentarily dim. Chapter 168, Breaking the Seal. The woman wore a light-colored silk dress, with eyebrows like jade feathers and flesh as white as snow. Her waist was gorgeously small while a veil covered her face, only revealing her clear eyes which seemed to flow like water as the world seemed to lose color before her beauty. A woman like this, and with such a demeanor, was rarely seen in this world. The noisy foot of the mountain lapsed into silence at this moment. Although the woman's face was covered with a veil, the faintly discernible silhouette of her face appeared almost perfectly proportioned, causing one to wish that he could rip off that veil, and see the beauty that would make 100 flowers look dull. Such a beautiful woman! Lin Dong stared at the woman dressed in light colors, her bare lily-white feet stepping on the green lotus, and could not help but softly gasp in his heart. Among all the women he had seen, Xuanzu was considered the most graceful, but before this mysterious woman, even she fell short. However, though this woman's voice was melodious and lively, Lin Dong did not see even the slightest bit of gentleness in those limpid crystal-like eyes. Instead, contained within was a deep cold that could repel someone 1,000 miles. This woman was evidently one that was hot on the outside but cold on the inside. This kind of woman was even more difficult to deal with than those women with ice-cold exteriors. Who is this woman? Someone from the Huangpu clan. Lin Dong tilted his head and looked towards Lin Ker as he softly asked. No. Lin Ker's umber-black eyebrows slightly knitted together as she heard these words, a little suspicion in her eyes. Even she could not help but feel a sliver of jealousy in her heart at this woman's looks and demeanor. This woman does not appear to have an ordinary background, as it was the Huangpu clan which invited her this time. Her name seems to be Ling Qingzu, and as for exactly where she hails from, it is not something someone of my position is able to know. To one side, old man Tao interrupted and said. To be able to cause a figure like Lin Langqian to be so courteous, this woman definitely does not have an ordinary identity. Lin Dong lightly nodded his head as he muttered in his heart. Hehe, so it turns out to be Miss Qingzu, Qin Shi greets you. In the skies, Qin Shi also gave faint smile to the woman whose lily-white feet stepped atop the green lotus. From the looks of it, he seemed to know a little of the latter's identity. Hehe, I did not expect that you would also be interested in things from my great Yan Empire. Wang Yan looked towards the mysterious woman, an undisguised passion in his gaze. In front of such a beautiful woman, any man would be moved, and he merely decided not to conceal it. It's nothing more than coincidence. Ling Qingzi gently smiled as she said. Soon after, her eyes turned towards Lin Langqian as she softly said, since everyone is already here, shall we start to break the seal? Ha ha, sure. Lin Langtian gently nodded his head. The gaze he looked at Ling Qingzu with was likewise a little different, however, it was not totally unrestrained like Wang Yan's. The seal was set up by a Nirvana stage practitioner, although many years have passed since then, its might is still considerable, but, as long as all of us attack a single point, destroying it would not be difficult. Upon hearing Lin Langtian's words, Wang Yan and the other two nodded their heads. Less useless talk, let's do it. Wang Yan was the quickest to move, the sole of his foot stamped on the huge golden spear below him as the spear started to tremble violently. Resplendent golden rays swiftly gathered at the tip of the spear, before it finally transformed directly into an enormous golden spear made of light, that was dozens of meters long, as it violently swept forth. Boom boom! The spear flashed forward, while emitting a series of low explosion sounds. Its power was astonishing. Hua hua! While Wang Yan made his move, Qin Shi, who stood atop the mystical wind bird, also lightly smiled as he gently waved the deep blue fan in his hand. Immediately, a blue wave rapidly formed before him, as Yuan power surged within it. Go! Qin Shi waved his fan as the blue wave crashed forward like a huge wave that seemed to stretch across the skies. Buzz buzz! Both hands behind his back, Lin Langtian did not seem to move as a huge vortex appeared in the skies above his head. Terrifying Yuan power seemed to rush out from the heavens, and in the blink of an eye, it transformed into a huge fiery red broadsword. Red light flashed, as it tore apart the skies and screamed forth like a meteor. Compared the Lin Langtian and the other two's attacks, Ling Qingzu's attack seemed rather serene. She waved her hand as a petal dropped off from the green lotus below her feet. Soon after, the petal was bundled up in a rich green light as it noiselessly swept towards the mountain top covered by the seal in a distance. When the four made their move, the Yuan power in the area violently undulated, while the faces of several people in the camp was filled with admiration. Only those that had reached the creation stage would be able to utilize Yuan power to such a godly extent. Will one be able to utilize Yuan power to this level after advancing to the creation stage? Lin Dong deeply sucked in a breath of air. The power to gather Yuan power, give it any shape with a gesture, was truly mind-blowing. In the face of this kind of power, even Lin Dong was held in rapt attention. Although the current him was already able to defeat a perfect Yuan Dan stage expert, towards a practitioner at the creation stage, his power was still rather insignificant. To overtake these top-tier younger generation members of the Great Yan Empire, he still had some ways to go. However, he believed that the day would come when he would definitely surpass these people at the top. While Lin Dong's eyes were flickering, the majestic attacks in the sky had already heavily slammed into the mountain top under numerous watchful gazes. As these attacks neared, the sky seemed to distort. Almost instantaneously, a screen of light slowly appeared, numerous lines and patterns were drawn on the light screen, as if they were a bunch of bizarre symbols. Boom boom! The first to reach was Wang Yan's golden spear of light, which gave off a proud aura. The exceptionally wild and formidable spear of light heavily slammed into a point on the light screen, causing circles to ripple outwards. Crash! The wave formed by valiant Yuan power also quickly followed. Everything poured down onto that same point, and immediately, the ripples on the light screen spread increasingly quicker, while the glow of the light screen also grew much dimmer. Boom! In the next moment, the scarlet-red broadsword arrived in a blaze. It ruthlessly pierced the light screen, and then, at an extremely slow speed, it slowly buried itself into the light screen. Burst! In the skies, Lin Langtian's mouth slightly moved as a soft voice sounded out. Boom! As Lin Langtian's voice sounded out, the tip of the scarlet-red broadsword, which had already pierced into the light screen, immediately let out a huge noise as it transformed into an exceptionally berserk Yuan power. The Yuan power frantically swept forward, completely wiping away the symbols on the light screen. As the Yuan power gradually scattered, the glow of the light screen also became exceptionally dim. However, it still firmly stood, a scene which caused quite a few people to inwardly smack their lips. They did not expect that after experiencing the ferocious attacks of 3 creation stage practitioners, the seal would still remain so strong. Swish! While everyone was in admiration over the strength of the seal, the final and seemingly weakest green glow was as light as a feather as it drifted over. Soon after, lotus flower petal landed on the light screen. The moment the lotus flower petal touched the light screen, it instantly transformed into a thick green light and spread outwards, as it enshrouded the entire light screen. Ka-cha ka-cha! The green light trembled as a series of soft but clear breaking sounds echoed out. The crowd watched as cracks unexpectedly appeared on the light screen. The seal is about to be broken. Upon seeing this scene, many people were delighted. Some of them looked towards the mysterious woman in astonishment, clearly unable to believe that she actually possessed this kind of method, and unsure of which holy land she came from. He, Miss Qingzu's heavenly jade lotus is indeed not ordinary. Lin Langtian, Wang Yan, and Qin Shi were similarly rather surprised, as they chuckled and remarked. Their gazes all looked towards the green lotus below Ling Qingzu's white feet. I was just lucky that it had a little subduing effect on the seal, Ling Qingzu gently said as she smiled. Bang! Just as Ling Qingzu's voice faded, the light screen, that was already covered all over in cracks, finally exploded with a bang sound. An extremely powerful storm unfurled in the skies like a hurricane. Go! The hurricane did not manage to blow away the four figures in the sky. They watched, and at the moment the light screen shattered, their figures simultaneously transformed into rainbow flashes that swept forth. In the blink of an eye, they were almost at the mountain top. The seal is open, quick, charge in! Upon seeing the four charge towards the old tomb, the crowd below were also madly delighted. Quickly, Yuan power whistled in the air as figures filled with power transformed into glowing shadows and swiftly rushed towards the mountain top. For a time, sounds of wind rang out across the mountains. We should go too. As they saw this scene, Lin Ker and the rest also planned to leap into action. They glanced at the Wang clan members, who were already charging towards the mountain top, before hastily trying to catch up. Little Flame, go! Lin Dong leapt onto Little Flame's back, as a smiling expression also surfaced in his eyes. Since he was already here, he could not possibly return empty-handed. He was indeed interested to find out exactly what kind of treasures were in this old tomb, that would cause even practitioners like Ling Langtian to be so impatient. Roar! Little Flame let out an intimidating roar towards the skies, which shocked the surrounding forests immediately. It transformed into a fiery red shadow and swiftly dashed towards the mountain top, as if it were chasing the stars and the moon. The battle for the old tomb had finally begun. Chapter 169, Sudden Windfall. A commotion instantly exploded on the originally serene mountain top, as everyone rushed frantically towards the old tomb. However, since there were several demonic beasts inside these mountains, occasional screams of terrors were heard from time to time. Yet, overall, most of them managed to rush up to the mountain top within a few minutes. Lin Dong did not rush in too quickly and choose to lag a little behind instead. Therefore, he managed to completely avoid all the demonic beasts along the way and safely reached the mountain top. Once he ascended the mountain, a large stone wall that was hidden within the vegetation surfaced in front of his eyes. Currently, this extremely solid stone wall had already been forcefully smashed into debris. Based on the haughty spear aura that remained, it was very likely that this was the work of Wang Yan from Wang clan. This man's strength was truly violent. Outside the stone wall, endless streams of people were rushing in red-eyed. They looked like perverts who had suppressed themselves for many years before finally seeing a naked beauty in front of their eyes. A scene which gave off a maniacal feeling. Lin Dong's eyes swept across the entrance, however, he did not see Lin Ker and the rest. He guessed that they must have already dashed into the old tomb impatiently. Nonetheless, this situation was just what Lin Dong had yearned for. After all, he did not want to enter the old tomb with them, since they would only restrict his movements. Even though Lin Ker knew a little of his true strength, he had other secrets including stone talisman and the tiny marten to hide. It was best not to let others know about these matters as much as possible. Huff! As he softly exhaled, Lin Dong's palm slapped against the tiger's back. Little flame roared, as it immediately leapt forth and jumped right through the entrance. As it dashed in, a formidable pressure immediately surfaced. Even though that Nirvana stage practitioner had been dead for numerous years, his lingering aura still filled this area, causing the Yuan power in one's body to feel slightly sluggish. A Nirvana stage practitioner is truly frightening. He still possesses this level of power even in death. I can't imagine just how terrifying he must be in his prime. As he felt this stifling pressure, a serious glint involuntarily flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. He lifted his head, only to find a spacious giant hall with dozens of passages leading into the depths of the tomb. Currently, several people were dispersing into the different tunnels. Lin Dong, enter the fifth tunnel from the left. While Lin Dong was hesitating over which path to take, the small Martin's voice suddenly echoed out inside his heart. Upon hearing its words, Lin Dong was slightly taken aback. Without inquiring, he patted Little Flame, before they transformed into a red flash and dashed past several people before directly darting into the fifth tunnel from the left. Even though there were numerous tunnels, there were even more people who had ventured in. Therefore, even after the separation due to the tunnels, Lin Dong still saw the figures of greedy-looking individuals hunting for treasure among the stone huts along the sides of the tunnel. Ignore them, move forward. When he heard the small Martin's voice, Lin Dong immediately dashed forward along the path without wasting any time at these stone huts. After traveling for several minutes at this frenzied pace, a glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. He patted Little Flame, causing the latter to quickly come to a halt, while his eyes turned towards a plain-looking stone hut in front of them. Inside it, he could sense an extremely powerful Yuan power undulation. There must be something good inside. This kind of undulation was something that he had not felt from any of the previous stone huts. Immediately, Lin Dong's heart skipped a beat as he swiftly rushed forward. However, when his palm touched the stone door, he was violently deflected by a powerful force field. There is a force field here, however, it is not too powerful. There must be a mechanism behind the stone door. Use your mental energy to penetrate and corrode it. It would require too much time to forcefully break through. The small Martin's voice sounded out once again. At a moment like this, having an experienced ally was highly effective. Lin Dong nodded his head. With a flick of his mind, mental energy gushed forth as it formed threads, which surrounded the stone door, before they rapidly merged with the door. Moments later, the stone door started to tremble violently, and to Lin Dong's delight, it slowly opened with a thud. When that stone door opened, Lin Dong immediately stepped in. A blinding flash immediately attacked his eyes, causing him to squint. At this moment, he realized that the interior of the stone hut was covered with a type of cold jade, allowing a weak cold qi to bathe the inside of the hut. Of course, Lin Dong's eyes only swept once across these cold jade decorations. Promptly, his eyes moved to stare at the piles of round pills stacked on the ground. These pills were the size of a baby's fist. Each and every one of them were glossy like jade, indicating that they were of excellent quality. Moreover, an astonishing Yuan power vibration emitted from within these pills. These are pure Yuan pills. Lin Dong foolishly stared at these pills which filled the entire room. Moments later, he could not help but violently suck in a breath of cold air. These things that were casually scattered around like beans was something that a Yuan Dan practitioner needed half a month to a month's time to successfully condense. The number of pure Yuan pills inside this stone hut were at least in the tens of thousands. If they were converted to Yang Yuan pills, there would be millions of them. Lin Dong recalled how he had painstakingly slogged to refine elixir pills, only to earn several tens of thousands of Yang Yuan pills. From this one could only imagine how shocked Lin Dong was in the face of such a windfall. This was akin to a country bumpkin suddenly running into a mountain of gold. Furthermore, he could take as much as he wanted. This shock only lasted for several minutes, before Lin Dong suddenly regained his wits. Without further ado, he immediately took out his Qian Kun bag and spread out his mental energy. Under Lin Dong's fevered gaze, all the pure yuan pills stacked in the room flew up and continuously flowed into his Qianqun bag. Tens of thousands of pure yuan pills. This gigantic sum was probably enough to buy even a low-grade soul treasure. The thought of encountering such a wonderful gift mere moments after entering the old tomb, caused the excitement inside Lin Dong's heart to overflow. This trip was simply too awesome. Lin Dong's gaze was fiery, as he concentrated on collecting all the pure yuan pills. To one side, Little Flame's huge tongue flicked out as it swallowed a big pile of pure yuan pills. In the past, Lin Dong would be pained at such a sight, however, now that he had encountered such a windfall, he was too lazy to even take notice of it. Pa! As there were simply too many pure yuan pills inside the stone hut, even with Lin Dong's mental energy, he only managed to collect half of them in several minutes. Just as he planned to collect the rest, his ears suddenly twitched as he heard soft footsteps. When he heard the footsteps, Lin Dong's facial expression instantly darkened as he violently turned around, only to see that outside the stone door, stood 4 figures. However, right now, these 4 people were staring, with their mouths ajar, at the pure yuan pills that filled the stone hut. Moments later, their eyes turned red as greed gushed forth. Then, their eyes paused on Lin Dong, who was rapidly collecting all the pure yuan pills inside the stone hut. "Kid, hand over all the pure yuan pills." The 4 of them were evidently in cahoots. They walked inside the stone hut, sealing off the entrance, before they maliciously smiled at Lin Dong. Under the temptation of these Yang Yuan pills, even if a creation stage elite was present, they would not give up so easily. People would die for money. This was a true saying indeed. Oftentimes, greed would overwhelm one's rationality. Lin Dong's expression did not change. Ever since the 4 of them had appeared, Lin Dong had sensed that among the 4 of them, 2 were at the initial Yuan Dan stage, while the other 2 were at the advanced Yuan Dan stage. Their combined powers made them a pretty formidable force, however, compared to him, they were still lacking. "Small Martin, Little Flame, I'll leave them to you." Lin Dong laughed as he said. After Lin Dong's words landed, the small Martin's figure immediately appeared on his shoulder. It rolled its eyes but did not object. Even though it had agreed to ally with Lin Dong during this trip to the old tomb, it still felt slightly upset that Lin Dong had asked it to take care of these weaklings. "Grow." The most obedient one was naturally Little Flame. When it heard Lin Dong's command, it immediately opened up its huge mouth. Meanwhile, the python snake tail at its back hissed, before it directly charged forward, bringing with it a bloody wind. That ferocious aura caused the 4's facial expressions to change, as they quickly utilized Yuan power to welcome it. Evidently, they never expected Little Flame to be this formidable. However, just as one of the initial Yuan Dan practitioners was preparing to use his Yuan power, an extremely swift light flashed in his eyes. Immediately, he felt a sharp pain in his chest area. As he lowered his head to look, he found that a bloody hole had already appeared and fresh blood continuously gushed out. As that light flashed past, the small Martin hovered in midair while chuckling at the remaining trio, who were now deathly alarmed. With a wave of its claw, it once again dashed forth. Since it now had the perfect Yuan Dan stage strength, it could slaughter these guys easily. The battle was settled surprisingly quick. With the small Martin around, even Little Flame did not have to contribute much, before these 4 unlucky fellows fell to the ground. When the last man fell, the final pure Yuan pill inside the stone hut was also kept inside Lin Dong's Qianqun bag. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the Qianqun bag and stuffed it inside his sleeves. Finally, a relieved smile flashed across his face. Just as Lin Dong was planning to leave with all the pure Yuan pills, a mess of footsteps echoed out from outside the entrance. Several people stood outside the door as they stared at the 4 lifeless bodies on the ground. Immediately, their hearts shivered as they fearfully stared at Lin Dong, who was inside the stone hut. In response to their stares, Lin Dong was expressionless as he directly walked towards the stone door. Meanwhile, Little Flame followed closely behind while emitting a bloody smell. When they saw this man and beast approaching, even though many people suspected that the 2 had very likely taken away the treasure, because they were not fully certain, they did not want to take the risk and attack this duo. After all, there were 4 bodies on the floor clearly warning them that the duo before them were certainly no virtuous souls. Thus, when they saw Lin Dong approaching, the crowd hurriedly dispersed to allow him through. Together with Little Flame, Lin Dong walked through the crowd at an extremely steady pace. His unhurried appearance shocked the crowds and cemented their decision not to attack him. That was dangerous. Just as he turned the corner, Lin Dong's taunt expression instantly relaxed as he deeply heaved a sigh of relief. It was fortunate that he was able to quickly collect all these pure Yuan pills. Else, if these fellows had seen them, they would surely turn crazy. At that time, he would be in real trouble. After all, even though his party was powerful, it was a pain for them to deal with too many people. After he heaved a sigh of relief, Lin Dong hurriedly jumped onto Little Flame's back, as man and beast left at a frantic speed. Compared to his calm appearance from before, he seemed like an entirely different person. Chapter 170, Ransacking the Demonic Spirit Chambers. 23,000 pure Yuan pills. Inside the tunnel, when Lin Dong used his mental energy to scan his Qian Kun bag, a dizzying blissful sensation immediately gushed forth from the bottom of his heart. 23,000 pure Yuan pills, that was equivalent to 230,000 Yang Yuan pills. Converted to Yang Yuan stones, that would be 33 million. Even if the Lin family completely exhausted their mining load, one wonders if they would be able to procure such an amount. If the Blood Wolf gang obtained such a massive fortune, their financial position would surely catch up with the Thousand Gold Association. That alone would be enough to reverse the pecking order between these two top Yan City factions. From these examples, one can see what these 230,000 Yang Yuan pills represented. What a country bumpkin! What can 20,000 pure Yuan pills do? At most, you can buy a somewhat decent soul treasure or a top-tier martial arts manual. While Lin Dong was elated over his gain, the small Martin's voice suddenly echoed out inside his heart. With regards to this fellow who enjoyed bringing others down, Lin Dong was already used to it. Since he was currently elated, he could not be bothered to argue. His eyes scanned the corridor, watching the figures frantically pass by, as he asked, "Now, how should we proceed?" "Go left. Now that you have gained something, it's time for me to benefit." The small Martin smiled, its voice betraying a hint of impatience. In the past, this so-called cave left by a Nirvana practitioner would be beneath its notice. However, now that it had descended from a phoenix to a chicken, it could only accept reality. After all, the most crucial thing currently was to restore its strength. "No problem." Lin Dong agreed without hesitation. Right now, both them were on the same boat. Furthermore, after working together for some time, they had developed some trust between them. Moreover, the bounty gained led both parties to understand that it would be most effective for them to work together. After agreeing, Lin Dong immediately urged on Little Flame, as they turned and quickly dashed down a tunnel to their left. Right now, most places inside this old tomb were flooded with people, and in fact, it was quite chaotic. Based on their appearances, it seemed like most people had found some decent treasures. Naturally, due to the huge crowd here, it inadvertently led to jealousy, and the ultimate result was that once a treasure was obtained, a brutal fight immediately exploded. As each party called their allies, fighting till they bled, a rather sorry outcome. However, since this old tomb was extremely spacious, there were numerous complicated and intercrossing tunnels. The small Martin seemed to possess an extraordinary gift for navigating these tunnels, as it directly guided Lin Dong deeper in. "At the end of this tunnel, I can sense an exceedingly intense demonic spirit undulation. However, don't worry, these demonic spirits are all sealed. It should have been the handiwork of that Nirvana stage practitioner." The fiery red shadow ran within the tunnel, as the small Martin explained to Lin Dong. Lin Dong gently nodded his head. Moments later, he lifted his head to spot a stone door at the end of the tunnel. As he approached the stone door, he was shocked to discover that this was not an ordinary stone door. Instead, it was forged from a peculiar cold jade. Based on the door's appearance, it seems like even that Nirvana stage practitioner had highly valued the items behind this door. At least, it seemed better than the previous room that Lin Dong had broken into. There is a seal on this jade door, and it seems pretty powerful. Lin Dong's footsteps stopped outside the jade door, as he glanced at the faintly visible symbols on the door and said, "Yes, leave it to me." The small marten nodded its head, as it once again appeared on Lin Dong's shoulders. Its claws swiftly danced, as a dark purple light swept out from its claws and stuck onto that jade door. Buzz buzz. That dark purple light seemed to possess an extremely powerful corrosive effect. As it came into contact with the jade door, those faintly visible symbols began to vibrate violently. Moments later, with a ka-chuk sound, all of them exploded. Rumble rumble. As the symbols split open, that tightly shut stone door also slowly began to open. Bang! Lin Dong slightly narrowed his eyes as he looked at the slowly opening stone door. As he took his first step in, an exceedingly powerful energy undulation immediately gushed forth from behind that stone door and forcefully jolted him back a few steps. Don't panic. This place has been sealed for too long and some energy has accumulated. The small marten laughed before it impatiently dashed in, while Lin Dong and Little Flame swiftly followed. After they stepped inside, a pretty spacious stone chamber appeared before of Lin Dong's eyes. The four walls of the stone chamber were filled with all sorts of mysterious symbols, and there were several light balls floating inside. They are all demonic spirits. As Lin Dong looked at the hundreds of light balls, astonishment slowly surfaced in his eyes. That was because he discovered that hidden inside each of these light balls was a sleeping demonic spirit. Ha ha! When it saw all these sealed demonic spirits, the small marten could not help but let out a hearty laughter. Then, it turned towards and tapped on the wall, as the jade door once again slowly began to close. Immediately, it pointed at a protrusion on the wall that resembled a jade sphere. Lin Dong, I will collect these demonic spirits. Help me prevent others from entering. The seal on the jade door has already been broken by you. When too many people arrive, I am afraid I can't hold out for long. Lin Dong furrowed his eyebrows as he said. Don't worry, once you pour Yuan power in, you will be able to reactivate the seal. Try your best to hold on for a while. The small marten waved its claw. Since it knew that time was of the essence, without further ado, its figure flashed as it jumped into the air. As its claws waved, a slowly spinning black hole began to surface on its palm. Once that black hole appeared, it immediately swallowed the demonic spirits. After witnessing this situation, Lin Dong felt helpless and could only quietly obey, as he poured his Yuan power into that jade ball. Then, the stone door once again slowly began rumble shut, as a faint energy barrier resurfaced. Growl. While Lin Dong was preparing to defend, to one side, Little Flame suddenly growled deeply. Then, to the astonishment of Lin Dong, it dashed inside the stone room, opening its mouth to swallow one of the light balls containing a sealed demonic spirit. You stupid tiger, how dare you snatch this Grandpa Marten's demonic spirits? When the small marten saw Little Flame's actions, its eyeballs almost popped out as it furiously said. Growl. Little Flame growled at the small marten and ignored it. Little Flame was quite intelligent as well, hence, it naturally knew consuming these demonic spirits would be extremely beneficial for it. Quit your yapping. There are so many demonic spirits here, are they not enough for you? Stop wasting time, once others rush in, all the demonic spirits here will be taken away. When he saw the small marten in conflict with Little Flame over these demonic spirits, Lin Dong did not know whether to laugh or to cry as he intervened. God damn it, alright, I will let this stupid tiger win. After hearing these words, the small marten cursed out in pain. Then, ignoring Little Flame, it hurriedly collected all the demonic spirits. Right now, it had no time to refine them one by one. Therefore, it could only collect them first, before slowly refining them at a later time. Thus, inside the spacious stone chamber, a marten and a tiger were now collecting and swallowing all these sealed demonic spirits. To one side, Lin Dong could see that even though Little Flame was swallowing them one by one, it evidently did not refine them. Therefore, one wonders where all these swallowed demonic spirits had disappeared to. Boom! This pace continued for several minutes. Just as Lin Dong could not help but want to tell them to hurry up again, that tightly shut jade door suddenly shook violently. Someone is outside, they are attacking the jade door. This sudden change caused Lin Dong to panic as he hurriedly warned them, before hastily pouring more yuan power into the jade ball in order to defend against these intruders. When it heard Lin Dong's warning, the small marten was startled as it hurriedly increased its pace. Boom boom! The large noises outside the stone door became increasingly frantic. It seemed like quite a few people were attracted by this ongoing commotion. Under this kind of pressure, the yuan power inside Lin Dong's yuan dan continuously gushed forth like a tidal wave. At this rate, he would not hold out for long. Immediately, he gritted his teeth, and directly took out a pure yuan pill from his qiankun bag before stuffing it into his mouth. Since he had obtained such a windfall, he did not mind this little expenditure. The pure yuan pills obtained from the old tomb was extremely potent. Without much need for any further refining, it could be directly transformed to yuan power for use. Therefore, Lin Dong was barely managed to hang on through frantically gulping down pure yuan pills. However, based on his flushed face, his situation was not good. Damn it, are you guys done yet? After persevering for several minutes, Lin Dong could not help but growl. Every vibration from that jade ball caused his arms to ache. It's done. The small marten once again waved its hand, as it sucked a light ball into its black hole. Then, it retrieved the black hole with its claw and said, "Let's head this way, we can directly exit here." After hearing these words, Lin Dong instantly felt a sense of relief. As he turned to run, he saw that there were still several light balls inside the stone room. Ha 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 ha, these are a present for those guys. The small marten hovered near another stone door. After breaking the door with a single blow from its claw, it jabbed out with its claw as numerous dark purple light beams swept forth and heavily slammed onto these light balls. Bang! When that dark purple light beam hit these light balls, the seal on these light balls were instantly dissolved. Immediately, Lin Dong sensed the demonic spirits sealed within slowly awaken. Bang! Just as these demonic spirits awakened, that continuously shaking jade door suddenly exploded, as a mass of black heads rushed in like a tidal wave. When he saw this scene, Lin Dong's heart began to pity these fellows who had painstakingly broken in. Then, he deftly dashed through the door, little flame and the small marten swiftly following behind as that stone door began to rumble shut again. Nonetheless, Lin Dong could still faintly hear a few miserable cries from inside the room. That fellow is simply too cruel. When he heard these screams, Lin Dong could not help but let out a bitter laugh as he turned to look at the small marten on his shoulder. Not only had this fellow ransacked practically all the demonic spirits, it had also left a massive headache for those behind. Chapter 171, The 6 Soul Treasures. Haha, this time we really had a great harvest. The small marten was seated on Lin Dong's shoulder, a delighted glint in its eyes. This time, it had obtained a rather substantial number of demonic spirits. Furthermore, most of these demonic spirits were roughly the same grade as the demonic jade water python from the celestial Dan pool. Hence, if it could refine all of them, perhaps, it would regain the strength of the creation stage in a few days. Even though this was still far from its peak, it was still much stronger than its current level. As he saw the small marten's delighted expression, Lin Dong rolled his eyes. He stared at the tunnel behind him, and found that there was no one who had managed to catch up. Evidently, the few awakened demonic spirits inside the stone chamber were causing them much trouble. That's good too, having less people around will spell less troubles. Lin Dong chuckled at their misfortune. Even though the people behind would probably still pass through eventually, it would reduce their overall numbers for sure. Let's go. Now, we can head to the main hall of this old tomb. The small marten waved its hand as it laughed, that is where the real treasures are kept. However, we must be careful. The defenses there should be the strongest as well. Lin Dong nodded his head. Speaking of treasures, his heart could not help but begin to sizzle. As he passed through a tunnel, both himself and the small Marten seemed to be like caterpillars molting. Not only did they manage to obtain all the pure Yuan pills, they even obtained nearly all of the sealed demonic spirits as well. Furthermore, he also understood that the items inside these tunnels were not the true treasures of this old tomb. Let's go. While he suppressed the fire inside his heart, Lin Dong patted Little Flame, as the latter immediately transformed into a red shadow and dashed forth. After it previously devoured a ton of demonic spirits, it had evidently benefited as well. Even though it had yet to refine those demonic spirits, its current state seemed to reach its peak. A man and a beast once again began to travel rapidly forward. However, this time, they did not make any more pit stops. This was because the remaining stone rooms were largely abandoned, thus, they did not have any value left. Hence, as they traveled at full speed, approximately 10 minutes later, the seemingly never-ending tunnel finally began to widen, as a loud thud and a racket greeted them like a wave. Lin Dong commanded Little Flame to reduce its speed as they slowly walked out of the tunnel. Outside the tunnel was an extremely extensive hall, similar to a large stadium. Along the hall were numerous different tunnels. Right now, there were already several figures inside this large hall. Roughly speaking, there were probably more than a dozen of them. Amongst them, Lin Dong spotted Lin Ker and her party, as well as the group from the Wang clan. Boom boom! However, right now, Lin Ker and the rest evidently did not notice Lin Dong's arrival. All of the people in the area were directing waves of powerful attacks towards a glowing barrier hovering in the large hall. Their combined forces caused layers of ripples to continuously emerge on that glowing barrier. Lin Dong's eyes swept across that glowing barrier, before they stopped at the few glowing shadows dancing within. Through that faint glow, he could almost make out the glowing shadows which seemed to resemble blades, arrows, shields, etc. Soul treasures. As he gazed at these glowing shadows, Lin Dong's pupils shrunk as he sucked in a breath of cold air. These 6 glowing shadows were all soul treasures. Such a massive find! Lin Dong muttered to himself. In the whole Yan city, one could not find even a single soul treasure. However, at this moment and place, there were 6 soul treasures before him. Furthermore, amongst these 6 glowing shadows, the one that resembled a blade was exceptionally resplendent. Based on its glow, even Lin Ker's shattered ice sword was no match for it. Hence, it must at least be a mid-ranked soul treasure. Just the value of one mid-ranked soul treasure alone could probably surpass all the pure Yuan pills that Lin Dong had obtained. As expected of a Nirvana stage practitioner's tomb, Lin Dong tried his best to suppress his rapidly beating heart. His eyes swept across the hall, and found that practically everyone was staring at these 6 soul treasures within the glowing barrier with hungry expressions. Right now, they were combining their forces to break the glowing barrier, before they started the fight for the soul treasures. When that time arrived, in order to fight for these soul treasures, there would definitely be a huge and horrendous battle. To obtain these soul treasures, it was worthwhile to put one's life on the line. A glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes, as Yuan power casually undulated on his hand, before he directed it towards that light barrier. At the same time, he quietly commanded Little Flame to slowly approach that light barrier. Lin Dong's actions did not draw much attention, because he was not the only one with such a plan. While the rest of them were attacking the light barrier, they purposely held back as well. Once that light barrier shatters, they would instantly make their move. When Little Flame was right below that light barrier, it decided to stop. Meanwhile, a frenzied glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes, as powerful Yuan power gushed inside his channels just like a flood. Meanwhile, the mental energy inside his Nuan palace was also ready to deliver a strike. Under the frenzied attacks of the crowd, the glowing barrier in midair began to dim. Based on its shaky appearance, it looked as if it was going to break at any time. Upon witnessing this scene, the atmosphere in the large hall suddenly turned strange. At first, all of them were sticking closely together. However, now, all of them spread out simultaneously, as a vigilant look surfaced in their eyes. Lin Dong also felt this peculiar atmosphere. However, he was not too surprised. Under the temptation of soul treasures, this was a normal situation. Lin Dong, when the scramble begins later, do not go for the blade-shaped soul treasure. Do you see the one all the way to the right? Go for that instead. While Lin Dong's eyes were peeled on that glowing barrier, which was ready to crack at any moment, the small Martin's voice suddenly echoed out inside his mind. Why? After hearing these words, Lin Dong involuntarily asked. That blade-like soul treasure seemed to be the most powerful one. Why shouldn't he go for it? As they were conversing, Lin Dong's eyes shifted to the right. That spot was slightly dim and a soul treasure that resembled a spear hovered there. It was black in color and fairly shoddy looking, and most importantly, the glow emitted by that item was the weakest amongst the six. If one did not see that other items around it, one may not have realized that it was a soul treasure. Hence, it was evidently the worst. Such a bumpkin! Even though that blade-shaped soul treasure is powerful, this other one does not lose out to it. In fact, this Grandpa Martin can tell that this soul treasure is only half complete. Humph, even though it's half complete, its strength is already equal to that of mid-ranked soul treasure. Once it's fully completed, it may even match up against the Wang clan's golden spear. The small Martin disdainfully said. Half complete. After hearing these words, Lin Dong was slightly shocked. Moments later, he replied, I do not know how to forge it. If I want to reforge it into a complete product, who knows how many donkey years it will take. I should just go for that blade-shaped soul treasure. Don't worry. At that time, Grandpa Martin will teach you how to forge it. Quit your yapping and stop bitching around. If you want to fight to death with the others over that blade-shaped soul treasure, then go ahead. After hearing these words, Lin Dong was enlightened. Inside this large hall, there were probably several highly skilled individuals who are gunning for that blade-shaped soul treasure. With so many people fighting for it, even with aid of his mental energy, he may not succeed. Furthermore, he only had one opportunity. If he tried to go for multiple items, he would likely end up with nothing. Alright, I shall listen to you and fight for the last one. His gaze flickered, as Lin Dong gritted his teeth and made his decision. After all, he had some faith in the small Martin's judgment, at the very least, he knew that it was much better than his own. Don't worry, it won't disappoint you. Upon witnessing this situation, the small Martin said in satisfaction. While the man and Martin were conversing, that glowing barrier in midair became increasingly dim. At the same time, everyone's hearts became increasingly nervous. In fact, some of them had even stealthily begun to unsheath their weapons. Crack! Suddenly, a soft cracking sound emerged. At that moment, the large hall suddenly turned silent, as everyone's eyes were tightly peeled on that crack, which was slowly emerging on the barrier. Crack crack! The size of that crack grew rapidly in the pupils of the crowd, before it eventually covered every corner of that glowing barrier. Bang! Crumble! Moments later, when the cracks finally extended to their limits, the barrier could no longer hold on, as it exploded, transforming into numerous glowing debris which fell from the sky. Boom! The moment that light barrier exploded, streams of UN power almost simultaneously exploded forth in the quiet large hall, as everyone's eyes turned blood red immediately. They leaped into the air, greedy expressions surfacing in their eyes, as they reached for the exposed soul treasures in midair. Let's go! The instant they made their move, Lin Dong's toes tapped off little flames back as his body flew into the air. Just as he had expected, most of them were unable to suppress the greed in their hearts and went for the strongest-looking, blade-like soul treasure. Meanwhile, the contenders for the 5 other soul treasures were evidently a lot less. Upon witnessing this scene, Lin Dong chuckled in his heart. His body turned as he dashed towards the spear-like soul treasure that had the least contenders. Since the small Martin claimed that this unremarkable spear-like soul treasure was potentially the most powerful amongst the 6, then no matter what, he must obtain it today. With this thought in mind, Lin Dong cast a glance at the 4 other practitioners that were also dashing towards the spear-like soul treasure, as a cold glint surfaced in his eyes. He would obtain this item for sure. Chapter 172, The Scramble Over the Treasure. All 5 figures had red-hot gazes, as they dashed in a straight line towards the spear-shaped soul treasure, which was floating in the air. Lin Dong's gaze swept over the other 4 before pausing on the leftmost middle-aged man. From the vigorous Yuan power undulations that spread out from the latter's body, Lin Dong was able to tell that the middle-aged man's strength was at perfect Yuan Dan stage. As for the remaining 3, they were only at advanced Yuan Dan stage. Although this was not weak, they did not pose too much of a threat towards Lin Dong. So many experts. This was already the smallest group, yet, there was already 1 perfect Yuan Dan and 3 advanced Yuan Dan practitioners. This intense competition caused even Lin Dong's heart to involuntarily gasp. However, Lin Dong was not the slightest bit lenient as he made his move. Though Yuan Dan stage practitioners were almost able to float through the air, they were far from able to directly create various shapes and objects using Yuan power like Lin Langtian and the rest. Thus, although they were in mid-air, their nimbleness could not compare to Lin Dong, who had the aid of mental energy. The sword below his feet flashed as Lin Dong's figure once again sped up. In an instant, he approached the spear-shaped soul treasure, which was emitting a weak glow. "Kid, you're courting death." The 4 people behind were furious when they saw that Lin Dong was the first to reach. As they lifted their hands, 4 portions of ferocious Yuan power gushed out and ruthlessly shot towards Lin Dong's back. Humph! As he sensed the strong wind which was rushing at his back, Lin Dong coldly snorted. With a flick of his mind, vigorous mental energy formed into a mental energy barrier behind him, and blocked the incoming Yuan power attacks. Swish! While resisting their combined attack, Lin Dong's finger pointed out as 4 swords emerged from his Qian bag. Formidable sword auras violently shot towards the 4 people behind him, indiscriminately hacking and chopping, causing the 4 to become somewhat flustered. After all, they did not have much means to move in mid-air, causing them to look a little clumsy. While the 4 were busy, Lin Dong neared the spear-shaped soul treasure, before his hand directly grabbed at it. Buzz! Just as Lin Dong's palm was about to touch the spear-shaped soul treasure, an extremely powerful resistive force suddenly exploded out from it, forcibly jerking away Lin Dong's palm. Boom! Upon seeing that this spear-shaped soul treasure was automatically resisting, Lin Dong was a little taken aback. As expected of a soul treasure, to think that it also possessed this kind of ability. Boom! Since his first grab ended up in failure, Lin Dong was about to continue trying. However, an exceedingly ferocious Yuan power undulation suddenly gushed towards his back again. This caused his expression to darken as he turned his head, only to find the middle-aged perfect Yuan Dan stage man staring back at him with an ominous glint in the latter's eyes. "Brat, beat it before this old man gets serious." Upon seeing the middle-aged man's devilish look, Lin Dong could not help but let out a icy chuckle. Without further ado, his mind moved as the manifestation symbol array straight away appeared. Manifest, 1,000 flames. Lin Dong did not waste any time to probe the opponent's strength. At this critical juncture, he understood that he could not afford to waste too much time with anyone. Therefore, when he attacked, he directly used the manifestation symbol array's strongest move. A tiny flame flew out from the symbol array, and as it traveled, a series of explosions were heard. Upon witnessing this scene, that middle-aged man's facial expression changed radically. He never expected that Lin Dong would display such a powerful attack. Immediately, he hurriedly mobilized the Yuan power inside his body, as it swiftly condensed before him. Bang! Just as his Yuan power almost formed into a defensive shield, that tiny flame arrived. A deep explosion sound echoed forth, before that middle-aged man immediately spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His body also collided heavily against the ground. The injuries that he had sustained were evidently not light. Lin Dong was not too excited after swiftly dispatching this perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner. Quickly turning his head, he once again planned to snatch that spear-like soul treasure. However, he suddenly realized that a suction force had exploded out nearby. Furthermore, that suction force was headed straight for that spear-like soul treasure. Someone else has joined in this fight for the spear-like soul treasure. When he saw this sight, Lin Dong's expression slightly darkened. As he turned around to look, his facial expression began to change. This was because the person who had intervened was actually Wang Pan from Wang clan. That person did not go for the blade-like soul treasure, but instead targeted this plain-looking soul treasure. Did he discover the secret as well? Lin Dong's gaze rapidly flickered while his facial expression was in flux. Just as Lin Dong's expression was in a flux, Wang Pan, who was standing nearby, coldly glanced at the former. The menacing glare he gave was extremely intimidating, evidently warning Lin Dong that it was best for him not to intervene. "Damn it, I don't care if you are from the Wang clan. Since I want it, this soul treasure is mine." Lin Dong's expression was dark. If this spear-like soul treasure indeed had the potential the small Martin had described, then, it would be absolutely worth the risk. Even though Lin Dong did not know the true value of a high-grade soul treasure, he guessed that even among the 4 great clans, there were only a handful who possessed these objects. "Small Martin, hold him down. I will snatch that soul treasure," Lin Dong echoed in his mind. After which, he immediately utilized a trace of mental energy to directly block off Wang Pan's suction force. Then, in a flash, Lin Dong dashed towards that spear-like soul treasure. "Kid, you have guts." When he saw that Lin Dong had actually intervened, Wang Pan's facial expression instantly darkened. With a menacing glint in his eyes, pure Yuangang energy gathered in front of him, before transforming into a vicious palm symbol which ruthlessly flew towards Lin Dong's back. However, in response to Wang Pan's attack, there were no signs of Lin Dong even turning his head. As that palm symbol was about to hit Lin Dong's body, a dark purple light beam shot out from his body, and turned into a dark purple vortex, which immediately swallowed Wang Pan's formidable attack. "Good, seems like you have some moves." This scene caused Wang Pan to be slightly taken aback. Promptly, he focused and with a flip of his palm, a sharp disc-shaped glowing object immediately appeared in his hand. Based on its appearance, it seemed to be a soul treasure. Buzz buzz. When that disc-shaped blade appeared, it began to rotate frantically. Then, an extremely glaring light began to enshroud that disc, as a formidable wind sounds echoed forth. "Go!" Wang Pan thrust his fingers out, as that disc-shaped blade swept forward at a terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, it directly tore through the air, leaving behind a black line. In fact, most people could not even see its shadow. That disc blade appeared behind Lin Dong, its formidable force causing his scalp to feel slightly numb. Was this the power of a soul treasure? TCH. Just as Lin Dong panicked and planned to turn around, a cold snort from the small Martin sounded out inside his mind. Promptly, a dark purple glow shot out from Lin Dong's body. Like a blob of sticky glue, it directly wrapped around that glowing disc blade. SZZ. As that disc blade was wrapped by the dark purple glob of light, waves of white mist immediately erupted from its surface, as a sizzling sound faintly echoed out. When he saw this sight, a look of shock surfaced in Wang Pan's eyes. He could sense that the soul energy on his soul treasure was actually being corroded by that peculiar dark purple light. At this rate, the soul treasure may become completely useless. At this thought, Wang Pan also hurriedly waved his hand to recall it. The disc blade struggled frantically, before it finally managed to escape from the dark purple light. However, when it returned to Wang Pan's hands, the glow on its surface had dimmed quite a bit. Evidently, it had taken some damage. Good job! Lin Dong was likewise shocked by this scene. Evidently, he did not expect the small Martin to possess this kind of method. Promptly, his feet hurriedly took 2 steps forward, as he finally managed to grab onto that spear-shaped soul treasure again. Buzz buzz. When Lin Dong grabbed onto it, that soul treasure once again began to struggle. However, this time around, Lin Dong was well prepared. Yuan power gathered at the center of his palm, and wrapped around the soul treasure as he firmly grabbed it. Even though Lin Dong refused to let go, that soul treasure began to struggle even more violently. In fact, it seemed a little frantic. Bastard! When he saw this situation, Lin Dong's face turned green. After expending so much effort, even holding off that Wang Pan, if he was to be thwarted by this soul treasure, it would be too ridiculous. There is a soul within every soul treasure, which will resist any person. Use Yuan power to activate the stone talisman embedded in your palm. While Lin Dong painfully hung on, the small Martin's voice suddenly echoed out. Upon hearing these words, Lin Dong instantly activated his Yuan power and poured it into the stone talisman within his palm. Buzz! When Yuan power first gushed into the mysterious stone talisman, the latter vibrated slightly for a moment. Then, it released an extremely soft buzzing sound, as a peculiar shockwave flowed forth from his palm and reached the maniacally resisting soul treasure. As that shockwave arrived, the spear-shaped soul treasure immediately stopped resisting. In fact, even the glow on its surface dimmed. Lin Dong seemed to faintly detect a hint of fear from that soul treasure. Right now, Lin Dong did not have the luxury of contemplating over why this soul treasure would feel this way. When he saw that this spear-like soul treasure had finally been tamed, his was delighted in his heart. With a flip of his palm, he immediately kept it into his Qian bag. Haha! Obtaining a soul treasure for the first time in his life, Lin Dong's heart was overwhelmed with joy, until eventually he could no longer bear it and started laughing heartily. Kid, you dare to damage my soul treasure. If you do not surrender that other soul treasure as compensation, I won't let you leave this old tomb alive. However, as Lin Dong's laughter ended, an extremely enraged voice slowly echoed out from nearby. Chapter 173, Ancient Heavenly Scales Halberd. When he heard that cold voice, Lin Dong's facial expression did not change. Turning around, he looked at Wang Pan, who had a grim expression on his face, as he casually uttered, "There are no rules in the fight for a treasure. It's natural for one to get hurt. Brat, you still dare to argue?" An enraged look surfaced in Wang Pan's eyes. However, for now, he did not dare to attack again. After that short battle previously, the glowing flame blade disc in his hand had already lost most of its soul energy. If this continued on, his soul treasure may become useless. To Wang Pan, even a low-grade soul treasure was a highly valuable object. Though the four great clans were extremely powerful, there were also quite a few geniuses within the clan. Therefore, it was not possible for each one of them to have a soul treasure. Even he had expended a large amount of effort in order to obtain this glowing flame blade disc. Now that it has been damaged, how could his heart not ache? Moreover, thanks to his keen eyesight, he could tell that the spear-shaped soul treasure, that Lin Dong had kept into his Qian bag, was somewhat extraordinary. Hence, unlike most of the others, he did not directly aim for the seemingly most powerful-looking blade-shaped soul treasure, and instead choose to fight for this spear-shaped soul treasure. At first, he thought that based on his abilities and with aid of his soul treasure, it would be easy to obtain. However, the situation before his eyes caused him to fume till he almost saw stars. He had ended up even worse off than initially. Based on Wang Pan's character, he was evidently unable to tolerate this injustice. Lin Dong calmly stared at Wang Pan, while he started to move the Yuan power in his body. Then, he suddenly clenched his fist, as that spear-like soul treasure appeared in his hand. Biting his tongue, a mouthful of essence blood sprayed out. At the same time, mental energy rushed forth and wrapped around that ball of essence blood, before directly fusing it into the spear-shaped soul treasure in his hands. Buzz buzz! As the essence blood assimilated into the spear-shaped soul treasure, the latter's surface began to exhibit a bright red glow. The glow brightened as the originally unremarkable soul treasure suddenly began to emit rays of light. Meanwhile, its figure also underwent quite a change. At first, the surface of this soul treasure was dark and only vaguely resembled a spear. However, it had now elongated by quite a bit, and it no longer retained its indistinct spear shape, but instead, became a long halberd. The long halberd was entirely blood-red, and its body was perfectly straight. Along the shaft of the halberd were scale-like patterns, and at the tip of the long halberd, a forbidding glint flowed on its sharp and menacing blade. Furthermore, sinister tiny scales lined the blade, forming a row of teeth. Hence, one could imagine just how deadly a strike of that halberd would be. Lin Dong stared at the changed soul treasure, as awe surfaced in his eyes. He casually swung it, and it tore apart the air with woo-woo sounds. Even though it was at a distance away from the ground, an invisible blade wind still left a mark on the solid surface. Ancient Heavenly Scales Halberd. Lin Dong's eyes turned to look at that long halberd. Hidden among the scales were 4 grand and ancient words. What a formidable halberd! As he gripped onto the halberd, a heroic feeling surfaced in Lin Dong's heart. With such a deadly weapon in hand, even a perfect Yuan Dan stage practitioner would pose little threat to him. You bastard, how dare you leave an essence blood imprint? Lin Dong's actions were extremely swift. Thus, it was only when the soul treasure had transformed, did Wang Pan then regain his wits. Immediately, his face turned as black as the bottom of a pan. Previously, the ancient heavenly scale halberd was an ownerless item, and whoever left behind their essence blood imprint first, would become the owner of this soul treasure. And now, it was evident that Lin Dong had completely taken possession of this soul treasure. Although he could still erase the imprint if he could snatch it back, it would be exceedingly troublesome. Overwhelmed by rage, Wang Pan no longer hesitated. With a wave of his hand, that glowing flame blade disc in his hand began to swirl manically. A ring of red-hot fire surrounded it, as an exceedingly formidable and powerful undulation emerged. Go! Wang Pan's face was malicious. With a wave of his hand, that frantically swirling disc above his head tore through the air with a swoosh sound, before it flew at an insane speed towards Lin Dong. The force behind this attack was so powerful that even a perfect Yuan Dan practitioner would be forced to avoid it. Humph! When he saw that Wang Pan still refused to give up, Lin Dong coldly snorted. The Yuan power in his gushed forth, as the ancient heavenly scale halberd in his hand jolted forward, and a dark golden glow immediately formed on its tip. Then, taking 2 steps forward, that ancient halberd drew a dark golden trail in mid-air, as the surrounding air continuously exploded. Without backing off, he directly swung it against the incoming glowing flame blade disc. Clang! As both weapons collided, sparks immediately exploded forth, before a stunningly powerful shockwave gushed forth from the epicenter. That glowing flame blade disc, that was powerful enough to tear apart a perfect Yuan Dan practitioner's defenses, was directly blown away with a swing of Lin Dong's halberd. That powerful aftershock flowed through the tip of the halberd, and gushed towards Lin Dong. However, when this energy reached the shaft of the halberd, the scales on its surface began to wiggle, as they directly dispelled all the energy from the aftershock. A soul treasure was truly extraordinary. Thanks to might of this ancient halberd, Lin Dong directly countered Wang Pan's glowing flame blade disc, and his body was not even pushed back. Meanwhile, the mysterious dark gold from the ancient halberd caused him to become the focal point of this giant hall. Currently, the battle for these soul treasure had almost concluded after an explosive fight, and all of the remaining 5 soul treasure now had their respective owners after a grueling battle. Big Brother Wang Pan. As curtain to the soul treasure battle dropped, the other Wang clan members also discovered Lin Dong's and Wang Pan's duel. When they saw that Wang Pan's glowing flame blade disc was swatted away by Lin Dong, a look of shock surfaced in their eyes. That kid has obtained a soul treasure too. That bunch of Wang clan members stared at the rather sinister-looking ancient heavenly scales halberd in Lin Dong's hands, as a greedy and fervent expression surfaced in their eyes. Such a powerful soul treasure! Wang Pan's eyes were likewise staring directly at the ancient heavenly scales halberd Lin Dong's hands. His glowing flame blade disc was still a low-tier soul treasure, yet, it was reduced to such a sorry state at the hands of that ancient heavenly scales halberd. Evidently, the latter should be a middle-tier soul treasure like that blade-shaped soul treasure. At this thought, the greed in Wang Pan's eyes intensified. If he could obtain this ancient heavenly scales halberd, then, amongst those of the same stage, few would be able to match up against him. That kid has damaged my soul treasure. Let's attack and kill him together. A vicious glint flashed across Wang Pan's eyes as he suddenly shouted out. Wang Pan evidently held quite a high status the other Wang clan members' hearts. When they heard his shout, cold lights flickered in their eyes. The Wang clan were always rather domineering, and its younger generation members were even more insolent. Hence, it was not the first time that they had done such a deed. As he observed the dozen of menacing glazes from the Wang clan members, Lin Dong's eyes also turned slightly icy. However, he was not afraid. He tightly gripped onto the ancient heavenly scales halberd, as a formidable aura immediately spread out. Wang Pan, what you are planning to do? However, just as Wang Pan and the rest were about to engage Lin Dong using their overwhelming numbers, a cold shout suddenly rang out. Quickly, Lin Dong saw Lin Ker and the rest swiftly rushing over. When Lin Ker and the rest arrived, their eyes initially paused on the ancient heavenly scales halberd in Lin Dong's hands, as a look of envy and desire surfaced on Lin Chen's and the rest's faces. Lin Ker was the only exception. Nonetheless, she was still slightly shocked that Lin Dong could actually obtain such a treasure. Lin Dong is a member of my Lin clan. He is not someone you can kill just because you want to. Lin Ker turned her head to look at Wang Pan, before she icily declared. Oh? I have never heard of a younger generation member in the Lin clan called Lin Dong. Upon hearing these words, that Wang Pan's expression slightly sunk as he coldly chuckled. Even though he belongs to a branch family, it is still barely enough for him to be counted as part of the Lin clan. To one side, Lin Feng suddenly said. He, a member of the branch family? Lin Ker, since when has your Lin clan fallen so low? Even an ant-like existence such as a branch family member is now being called a main clan member. When he heard these words, Wang Pan let out a strange laughter as he replied. Lin Ker turned her head and fiercely glared at Lin Feng. Then she said in an indifferent tone, this is none of your business. No matter what, his family name is Lin, and that should be enough. If you want to kill him in front of me, then you will have to ask permission from my blades first. When she spoke, Lin Ker lifted her lily-white hands as two blades immediately hovered beside her. The first sword was something that Lin Dong had seen before, it was the shattered ice sword. Meanwhile, the other pinkish short sword was filled with an enormous amount of soul energy, which did not lose out to Lin Dong's ancient heavenly scales halberd. Based on this scene, it seems like the blade-shaped soul treasure had fallen into her hands. You. As he stared at the blades before Lin Ker, which emitted powerful shock waves, Wang Pan's facial expression turned exceedingly grim. He never expected that the blade-like soul treasure had landed in Lin Ker's hands. Right now, he was no longer able to match up against Lin Ker, who possessed two soul treasures. Furthermore, to the other side, there was also Lin Dong, whose strength had surged after he obtained the ancient heavenly scales halberd. Based on the current situation, they were clearly unable to gain any advantage. You bastard, just you wait. What is mine will not be so easily taken away. Sooner or later, I will make you spit it out. Since the situation did not favor him, Wang Pan could only swallow the rage inside his heart, as he glanced viciously at Lin Dong. Then, he waved his sleeve as he turned and walked towards the other side of the giant hall. Behind him, the rest of the Wang clan members were also somewhat disgruntled as they followed him unhappily. I apologize, but I just found out that there might be a translation error on my part in the previous chapters. The royal clan mentioned should be called the Huangpu clan instead. Royal clan Huangpu clan.